and I want to continue on that. And so I've entitled this Pressure-Free Living, Doing What You Love. And one of the things I've noted is that unless we're exposed to things, we might not even find what we really love. We were recently at a funeral, my husband and I, for a college friend of his. And there was one other college friend who attended the funeral, Steve, good friend of ours. He was an usher at our wedding. And afterwards, we're sitting having food, and Steve said, that he was grateful for all the times I gave him tickets to the Saginaw Symphony. So I was a member of the Saginaw Symphony. I'd travel up from Ann Arbor, play in that symphony with a whole bunch of my friends to make some money, and I would give my comp tickets to Steve, and he would take dates, different date pretty much every time, to the symphony. And he was thanking me because he said he never would have come in contact with the beauty of that music had I not been giving him those tickets. And he is now a member of a chorus. He sings with symphonies, with Midland Symphony, and sings in this chorus. And so that got me thinking about, okay, if we're not exposed to things, how do we know if we even like them? Another short story is I was conducting an orchestra, as a guest, doing a couple of sessions with an inner city school. And they had an array of music. And I said, okay, so what would you like to start with? We had a Handel Concerto Grosso. We had, I think we had a little piece by Beethoven. We had Holberg Suite and a piece of Disney music. I don't know a lot of Disney music, so it's like Disney music, right? I think it was a medley. And people might think, oh, they're going to go for the Disney boat. No, unanimous. All of these inner city kids, what do they want to play? They want to play the Handel Concerto Grosso. So they want to go to the oldest music because it speaks to them, it resonates with them. And that was the case for me. I had never heard a violin up close and personal until I was 8 years old. And then the orchestra teacher for the public schools came and played for our class. I think I probably ran to the front of the room to grab the orange sheet to bring home to my parents that said that I wanted to learn to play the violin. There were three of us, my friends Melissa Solomon, Kim Stark, and me. The three of us got the little orange pieces of paper and brought them home. And that started a whole world for me, for my sisters who played violin and cello. And they also danced, or my youngest sister danced. Like it just opened up a whole world to us. And just 2 years later, I knew I wanted to be a professional musician. I remember writing a paper about Arcangelo Corelli, and my teacher didn't even know who that was. So I was like, I felt like I was in this whole different world. I sometimes would feel, maybe you felt this before, like I felt like I belonged in a different century. I belonged in the 1600s. One of my sons has felt that before too. Like I'm just in the wrong century because that music spoke to me so much, the early Baroque. So pre-Bach, Scarlatti, Corelli, Gimignani, like all that just really speaks to me. And of course, I love all kinds of music, French Impressionist music and Stravinsky, and like it just goes on and on because, of course, I learned so much more about classical music in my studies at Concord High School and also at University of Michigan and at the Mozarteum in Salzburg and Tanglewood and Interlochen and all these places where I went to study. And um, so I would never have known anything about that had I not been exposed that one day to hearing a violin. And it became such a passion for me. So exposure is really important. If you feel kind of stuck in a rut, if you don't have any hobbies, maybe you need to join a club. Maybe you need to meet with people who do different things because there's so much out there. I know friends who do the scrapbooking thing and they have these weekends together and they scrapbook. Passions can come in all forms. My youngest is a marathoner. I mean, he's did an ultra now. He's going to do the 51. 51 miles in Nevada at Area 51. Like that's what he's thinking about doing. But this is a passion for him now. Travels all over the world and does these marathons and meets people and has cool experiences and builds it into his work. So he's filming somewhere. Can he run somewhere? So sometimes people think, oh, these things cost too much money or take too much time. Um, and that's a really good point because I think about my violin students that I taught for years, particularly my high school students who were often in sports and in clubs and on student council and just doing it all. And they're straight A students taking all these AP courses, tends to be what violinists do. And and I would ask them, how much time do you have every day to practice violin? And they'd kind of, tongue in cheek say, oh, yes, an hour to 2 hours, which is what they probably should be putting in, right? But when you look at the course of their day, that's a lot of time to put in. They're probably going to get up at 5 a.m. to do that. And so I would ask them, do you have 10 minutes? So let's say you wanted to learn to knit. If you just gave your knitting 10 minutes a day, you would become a better knitter. And if you particularly focused on a particular, like knit one, purl two, like particular pattern, and you super focused for those 10 minutes, that's what I do with my violin students. I'd say, okay, so let's pick a phrase. And if all you did was work that phrase for 10 minutes a day, what does that phrase have in it? It has a part of a scale. It has some arpeggio work in it. It has double stops in it, like whatever it had. I'd say, okay, so will you become a better violinist if all you did was this? If all you did was a 3-octave G major scale and really focused on every note being perfectly in tune with no vibrato, would you be a better violinist? Absolutely. So what I would say is that if you feel like you don't have a lot of time, we can probably find a 10-minute block. We can probably find that. So exposure helps us understand, like, what is it that we like? I remember the first time we took the kids to a Renaissance fair, um, and it was a lot of fun, right? So I don't know if we ever went to another one, but now my sons have actually filmed with some of the characters they saw when they were little. They filmed them for music videos, two of them actually. Like it's crazy. So having a little bit of fun or passion for something and then seeing it and then how it might occur in your mind for another reason or make connections for something. I think that's why it's so important when we're young to just be exposed to a lot of different things, to different languages, to different experiences, different sports, different activities, different hobbies. And some we might like, some we won't like, and some we will like. But I think it's particularly important if you feel stuck, if you feel a lack of life force, if you feel almost it could be depressed or dispassionate. Um, it's time to open up. It's time to find a little something that gives you that spark, that brings that life force back in. I see it in people's eyes. Like it's almost like there's a dullness to the eyes when people lose their life force, their spark. And so yeah, that's what I have for you today. My tool in pressure free for this is know what serves you. And the first time I developed this tool is when I read a book called The Style Statement by Laporte and McCarthy, founded at Willard Library in Battle Creek. Uh, and that book just clued me into how different we all are because you answered sets of questions and they would be, you make a choice like, here's an example. On a Saturday night, will we find you at a chamber music concert or at a race car event? So you're probably going to find me at the chamber concert because I don't really like loud noises. But what I realized is someone else is checking that other box. It didn't just make me like more tolerant of people's differences. It actually made me very, very curious and more accepting. And about a month later, actually had two people come and work with me whose spouses were race car drivers, and one of them was a race car driver too. It was crazy. So that idea of know what serves you with your clothing, with your furnishings, with with how you live, with whom you live. Like, is this serving me? Do we need to change things up? Does something need to be different? Um, I think it's um, a fascinating question. Does this serve me? Does this serve my family? Does this serve my soul? Like your soul, your deepest part of you. Sometimes we do things or talk certain ways, and it's like, that's not really serving me. So it's not just our actions, but it's our thoughts. You can really play with this in so many ways. By the way, when I did the style statement, you end up with two words that define what your statement is. My two words were organic, refined. So I don't really want to wear like a hemp dress. It's just like no shape to it. I'm a classical violinist, so that refined piece just made so much sense. Um, and then this idea that, I prefer to wear 100% cotton, linen, cotton, wool, silk. Like those are my go-tos that I really prefer to have against my skin. Um, and so I thought that was just kind of interesting to learn that, and play around with it. I used to be very sensitive skin-wise. Like I couldn't have wool against my skin. I had to have cotton underneath it, but I couldn't wear synthetic fabrics. My skin just reacted to it. And isn't that interesting? So, luckily pressure free, I can wear pretty much anything and not even feel it. Like even a tag, I would have to take tags out of things because I was very sensitive to all that. But I'm not anymore. So coming back always to pressure free living. If you have sensitivities, if you're environmentally sensitive, it's probably because you've triggered the stress response in your body. Your nervous system is so active to look for where the threats are. And even a slight smell of something could be a threat to you. So I'm watching a little bird out here, shiny object. I wish you a great pressure-free day, and I'm always here for you. You can go book a call at my website, lingalls.com. You can also get to it as pressure-free.com. And that is, there's a book a call button right there, and we can have a conversation. Have a great day. Bye.